So it's June 18th and I'm standing in front of Manchester High School, and this is part 2 of my report on the Amazon data center forum here. What I did is, in this, I separated out because I had an opportunity to talk to all 3 of the county commissioners, Paul Worley and Judge Spencer, as a citizen. So I've broken that out, and here are my interactions with the politicians or the elected leaders, and Judge Spencer as a citizen, and Paul Worley, the Economic Development Director. Just basically ask them questions about the forum and the project. So hopefully you enjoy this. Again, I was not trying to challenge them or really put them. I want to give everybody their chance now for their best foot forward at the event for the community, and let the commissioners basically answer some pretty straightforward questions on the value and the insights. I appreciate all of them having talked to me. All right, Barbara, how you doing?
Good, I'm doing good.
Okay, so this shindig here, nice to see you here. So over there, they told me the construction and site design said he's been working on it for about 7 months.
Okay.
I'm not asking you to tell me something that I don't already know or that you can't tell me, but kind of when did you guys as commissioners know about this, or that it was an Amazon specific project? How far in the past? More than 7 months, less than 7 months. Less than 7 months.
Yes,
so
I think when the the protesting people started coming to our meetings, at that point, I could have guessed that it was Amazon or Google, but I did not know until I announced it at one of the meetings.
Okay. And then I heard the gentleman talking to you when I walked up, asking about grants and stuff, and you were talking about the negotiations. Has the county, and I apologize if I'm not up to speed, I'm going to 3 counties, there's data centers everywhere.
Right.
Has the county given them any incentives at this point for what they're zero? Okay.
Zero.
Okay. And I think you heard the other gentleman saying you're expecting them at some point to come wanting some sort of financial, tax abatement, other kind of incentives. Do you have any sense of what kind of incentives they might be looking for?
I'm sure that they're going to want more incentives than we want to give. I can guarantee you that.
And then part of that there's a funny thing in Brown County in Mount Orab. A woman called in talking to the mayor.
Okay.
And said he was saying we gave him an abatement, we gave him this, because they already given him everything. And she asked, when do we get something out of it? And he said on the call, he said, we ain't got there yet. Okay, and it's like, and then afterwards it's like, hold on a second here. If you already gave them everything,
right,
why would they give you back? So you're saying here you have not given them anything at present, and that's a future negotiation.
Absolutely not. And I actually, in fact, told the one Amazon contact that I have that I did not want to negotiate until he had this meeting.
Okay. And then on a separate topic, your judicial race.
Yes.
How you feeling about that?
I'm feeling good.
Okay. Are there any campaign events or anything like that you're doing with, what's the name of the person running against you? I won't say it, so you probably won't want me to say it. The person running against you, are there any candidate forums or events that'll take place?
I would say probably not. I don't know.
Okay.
It's early.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Virtually one of our commissioners. My name is Beth Barr. I'm local. I've been here for about 6 years, and I just wanted to register with all the commissioners that I am very opposed to this happening without meaningful economic revenue to the county. Meaningful, they were talking about $100,000 over 1 year that they've distributed to 14 different organizations. That is nothing. They can afford massive economic investment.
Well, if Barbara Moore is telling me the truth, you guys haven't given them anything at this point, so they haven't gotten any incentives. So the thing versus saying Mount Orab, they gave all of the incentives away, and somebody called the mayor in Mount Orab and recorded their call, and it wasn't me, and a woman, and they said asked her, the mayor saying we gave them the CRA and the 100% this and 100% that, and she says, well, what do we get out of it? And he's like, we haven't got to that part yet, you just sit there going hold on a second. Okay, if you already gave everything away, why the hell? What negotiations left to have? You already gave it to them, unless they think, So, all right.
I'll let you guys talk. Please stand up for the citizens and make sure we get a meaningful contribution if this shouldn't go forward.
Sure. Thank you. So, what's my questions? Off the record.
No, I don't. Yeah, your colleague Barbara Moore, you should see when I talk to her. People that talk to me have a different experience with me than people that don't talk to me. It's the not talking to me creates the experience. because then I get to chase you through parking lots and stuff like that. So you didn't run out the door. So I appreciate that. So
I've tried to. No,
he was moving. So I'm here with Commissioner Hayslip at the Data Center Forum in Manchester with Amazon. So Commissioner, when did you, a guy at one of these things said they've been working on it for 7 months. The Amazon guy told me. How long ago did you guys find out about this particular project?
I talked to Amazon about 6 weeks ago.
So that's the first time you talked to them directly?
It is the first time I spoke with them about 6 weeks ago.
Okay. So okay. And your first time you were aware of a data center project was, and it's not a gotcha question. I'm not asking you a gotcha question.
No. Well, I mean, I've heard of this thing for 2 or 3 years.
Okay.
But nothing official.
Nothing official.
And honestly, I couldn't pinpoint a time.
Okay. And to make it clear, we were just talking with the other woman that was up here. You guys haven't been put in a position of offering any particular economic incentives at this point in time. Absolutely. That's still to come.
It is still to come. Absolutely.
Okay. So you haven't, and I was saying to the woman that was up here is, you haven't done what I've seen some places do, is give away everything and then ask yourselves a question, what's in it for us?
Well, here's my take on it, honestly.
Yeah.
I think if they were smart, they're going to ask for 100%, right?
Yeah.
I mean, they're $1 billion corporations. So,
yeah.
But that's not going to happen with my votes.
Well, let me tell you something somebody told me that's big in economic development, really big, is here's the things that make a good or bad project. Okay, for economic development incentives.
Sure.
There's 3 factors. One is jobs. How many jobs does it create? The second one is what's the increase in taxable property base? Okay, that's taxable soon, not like long term. And the third thing is, how does it pay for public infrastructure that we could never dream of affording otherwise? Okay, and so those 3 things I tell people. I thought the person that told me this was a genius at this stuff. And it's like, so any economic deal that comes before government, those are the 3 things: jobs, increase in property tax base, and public infrastructure you otherwise couldn't afford.
Sure.
So Commissioner Moore said something about, like you guys need a gas line or something. And I'm not asking you to say anything, secret negotiations, but are there things that you think are important to Adams County, maybe apart from Amazon, but just infrastructure things that you think in the next 5 years are going to be really important for Adams County?
I think natural gas is by far one of the most important things that we as a county, and I said in a meeting, back in 25, and there was several people there, and I said, we need natural gas.
Yeah.
They said, well, if we don't have a company coming, we can't get natural gas here.
Yeah.
I said, well, what about the residents of Adams County? They would benefit hugely from natural gas. And then we have an opportunity to get other businesses in here, because that's the only thing that's going to bring them, honestly.
Well, I actually had a discussion with this economic development person that was suggesting that some savvy place should try to negotiate if the facility is going to do something with their own power, which I don't know anything about this one, But if you ran into a place that's saying they want to do some when it becomes commercially viable, small modular nuclear, shit like that to provide power, is that if you get a village involved, they can have a utility, and you could actually do something miraculous in terms of having a positive effect on people's utility bills. And the person, I'm like they get lower rates, and they're like, actually the thing that is the big deal, so this person knows more than I do, is transmission costs and transmission charges.
Sure.
Those are the things that you could really alleviate within a bill. Okay. But I asked the person, I'm like, why has anybody ever done that? It's like, because they don't have people that know how to negotiate. This stuff is new. It doesn't exist. Small modular nuclear doesn't really exist. Anybody that thinks it does, it doesn't right now. And so it hasn't yet, you haven't yet gotten there on these things.
So that's one of the questions I asked Amazon when I spoke with them about 6 weeks ago. Do they own nuclear reactors? They do not. Amazon does not. Now, they do invest in them, but he told me that they're at least 2 years out on that technology.
I hear 2035. Yeah. So there is no commercially viable product available for a small nuclear reactor. There's companies that are designing them that will seek approval for them. Sure. There is, just as an aside, I don't know if you know this, but the technology for them was invented at what's the place in Tennessee? Oak Ridge? Is it Oak Ridge? I think it's Oak Ridge,
yeah.
Tennessee. But we never used it in the United States. The Chinese and the Russians have, and there's the only two places where there's commercially viable small modular reactors. And they didn't steal it. You know, it was not secret stuff. But we never, because they use like a pelletized fuel and stuff like that. They use different kind of things, and it's only the Chinese and the Russians that have done it, which makes me sad, because it's America 250, and you hate to think, you know, other people used our inventions.
I think natural gas is still the best way to go.
And it's as a clean burning fuel. Sure. Well, I have no objection to coal myself. Yeah, I think we're just idiotic to shut down that shutdown. So. Well, I appreciate you taking a couple of minutes. By the way, you're the quietest of the commissioners. You could go through a whole meeting. We could have a game. You probably don't drink. Okay, and I want to. No, I do. But you could have a drinking game on when you say stuff during a meeting, because you're the quietest commissioner. So I appreciate you talking to me right now.
I learned something a long time ago. Y'all give me 2 ears and 1 mouth.
Well, I appreciate you talking to me tonight.
Thank you.
Have a good rest of the evening.
You too.
Can you answer me? Give me your insights on this event and what your view is of this project. So first thing is, I just want to point out, I'm standing here with Kelly Jones, and he did not run away from me. He kind of turned his back, he kind of slinked a little bit, but at some point he made that mental decision to not run away. I appreciate that.
Yeah. Well,
okay, so this, let's start with this event, Mr. Jones.
Yes.
What do you think of this event?
I think it's good. It's informative.
Okay.
I would like to see it done a little different. I would like to see them come in here and explain to everybody with an open concept and say exactly how they
do a presentation of some sort.
That way, you know, you don't get 50 different ways, and everybody can hear the same presentation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the event, the project itself. I've asked your other two commissioner colleagues. There was a guy at the construction and site design, an Amazon guy, that said he's been personally working on the site design for 7 months.
Yes.
So my question to you guys is, when I've asked each of the commissioners, when did you find out about this project in a meaningful enough way? I know you know, for years you've known something, you know, could happen, but in a meaningful enough way.
Well, I think Alex Schaefer is how I actually found out about it, because
the record requests and stuff.
No. Let's get the full details on it. So whenever I was trying to get my animal shelter project done, he kind of tried to throw a wrench into it. He called the state of Columbus, Ohio, posing as the county commissioner, and then he sent me an email, which I can show you the email. And in that email, 11/24/25, he said he saw it come across the docket at Columbus, a possible data center site.
Okay.
And was really interested in helping Adams County with this project. And then I kind of blew it off. I didn't know what was going on. I didn't really find out till later on, and I talked to one guy probably 7-8 weeks ago, the first time an Amazon guy sat down with him one-on-one.
Okay, 7-8 weeks ago.
7-8 weeks ago, 2 months. I could get you the exact
And my understanding is, to date, they have not actually engaged with you guys on any specific incentives or requests for incentives.
100%, yes.
Okay, so you guys, I've told your other colleagues, I'll tell you, so you're in a better position than Mount Orab, where they gave them everything. And I told somebody, a woman called in, not associated with me, and recorded a call with the mayor where they'd given them every incentive you could, 100% this, 100% that. And then the woman asked him, so what do we get out of it? And his answer was, we're not to that point yet. Yeah. It's like, you already gave it all away. So you guys have not, I mean, to your defense, you've not given it. This is a private project right now, as far as you're concerned.
It's a private project. They have not come to the commissioners and offered us anything. So, but you know, my personal opinion, I can't say yes or no on anything until I see the build design. I don't understand the water until I see it.
Okay.
You know, there's 1,000 ways to build a house or build a car or anything, but I got to see exactly the whole project and make sure it's done right.
Okay.
And I want it done right. And my theory is this all along, as a county commissioner, whoever comes, they need to pay their fair share. And the Adams County needs the benefit, but at the end of the day, it's got to work for both of us. And if the good outweighs the bad, it's something that
I've told your colleagues, and I'll tell you, I know somebody's a genius at economic development, and the three things is jobs, taxable increase in property value, and infrastructure that you could otherwise not afford.
Exactly.
If you can get a deal that has a mix across those things, maybe one of them isn't part of it, but a solid mix across those things, that's a good project. If you can't get those things, that's a bad project.
Let them go.
And they could still do it privately. They could still do a private project.
Exactly.
But I think that's a genius model to think about. So it's the increase in jobs, increase in taxable property base, not, so not a 100-year abatement,
exactly.
okay, and builds infrastructure that you could otherwise not afford. Like your colleague Barbara Moore told me, like, you guys really could use improvement in the gas pipeline coming through here, stuff like that.
And this project might not need gas, but
right.
maybe we can get incentives to bring the gas to it, and that's actually what we need. We need
well,
gas.
you got to look for where there might be common interest, that they want something, you could use something.
But at the end of the day, to me, it's just a numbers game. I got to see the numbers. If the numbers don't work, bye-bye.
Okay.
But realistic, they can come and do it without us. They can just pay the full deal. But I want to be a partner with them. I don't want to be an enemy. I want to be a partner.
Well,
I think they could be good. And you understand the data centers.
Yeah. Well, and I understand, and I get a lot of flack because I am not for the data center petition.
Yes.
So the people, it would be easy for me to be for it, and I would get accolades, because I think that the big issue is government operating without the informed consent of the people.
Yes.
If the people wanted a gigawatt data center, and they knew about it, there was a legitimate process, it wasn't a trick, then they can have it. I tell people, we need garbage dumps, okay, we need this, we need that, and so it's all a trade-off.
Exactly.
And how many people, I'm going to make a silly joke here, how many people, even in, say, Mount Orab, in Brown County, where there's been a lot of upheaval about the data center project concept there, how many people would have a different opinion if just that meant they'd get their $99 Amazon Prime paid for?
Huge.
What I'm saying is, like, you just got to look for what's in it for me.
Yes.
And every deal, no deal's perfect. It's a question of what's in it for you versus what's in it for the other party.
My personal stance on it is I've been a businessman for many years. I've sold outside furnaces. I still sell them. I spray foam. I've bought 2,000 or 3,000 acres of ground. And at the end of the day, it's got to work for both people. If it don't, you walk away from it.
Right.
But it's got to work. And Adams County needs it. Just for our EMS levy has failed.
Right.
And that's huge. We need to get that levy passed. And then the next thing is we're mandated $1.5 million on our children's services.
Yeah.
We're mandated $1.5 million on our MRDD. If them levies fail, the county's responsible for that. So we need income, revenue.
Okay.
And a poor man never built anything. These guys got.
Well, do you know Dave Ramsey? Dave Ramsey. His advice: don't take financial advice from broke people.
Amen, brother. And a poor man never fixed anything, never hired anything, never done anything. But these guys could be a great partner for Adams County, and it could be huge, it could be good. But they got to do it the right way.
Okay.
And it's got to be done properly.
And I might give a capitalism 101 thing that I think you'll get, because you said this about people doing stuff. Is I go buy a loaf of bread at the store. They charge me, I go to Walmart in Eastgate, they charge me like $1.05. It's gone up, unbelievable inflation, but it's like $1.15 maybe right now for a loaf of bread. And it's like, and let's hope that Walmart makes, they probably have a 50% margin on that, okay?
Maybe.
Gross margin. Net margin's probably 4 or 5%, okay?
Yes.
So they got a little margin on there. They're making money on there. And then people say, dirty capitalists making money on it. Well, go figure this out. How much would it cost you to make your own loaf of bread? When you have capitalism that works, everybody wins. The person doing the improving, like giving you the loaf of bread for $1.15, they're making money on it. But if you tried to make your own loaf of bread, it would cost you an ungodly amount of money.
Yes.
And that's how capitalism's supposed to work. At every step of the transaction, people make a fair amount and they profit from it. And I don't know what you were saying, stuff about who does what to who. But it bugs me to no end that young people and adults don't understand the basic premise of capitalism. Is that I make money adding value to something, but me making money off of you when I give you that loaf of bread is good for you and it's good for me. It makes money, but you wouldn't otherwise have a loaf of bread.
Amen. They don't understand that. But most people's minds can't comprehend the full business logistics of how things operate and how they do. They just look at the rich and they're getting richer. But the rich is the one that builds everything, that pays the taxes and makes life easier for us.
Well, I appreciate you taking a minute to talk with me.
I appreciate you, yes.
And I don't know this project good or bad, but I do think the most important thing to me is it's America 250, is that we have government with the informed consent of the people. And so to the degree, like did you ever sign any NDAs or anything like that? So you never had like the Brown County commissioners that all signed NDAs and stuff? So you never did shit like that?
No, but I got mixed feelings about that. So here's why I say I got mixed feelings about that. So Paul Worley is the only one in the county that signed the NDA. Paul knew, but he couldn't tell. So Kelly Jones didn't sign them, but Kelly Jones didn't know. But in one sense, maybe if Kelly Jones would have signed them, he could have been in there structuring the deal, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, you still got to trust somebody, you know what I mean? And I didn't know because I didn't sign them. They're not going to talk to me. And that's just the sad way
So
it is.
personally, my personal opinion
Yeah.
is that it's all secrecy's bad. Secrecy hides, my saying is secrecy hides corruption, transparency builds trust.
It does.
And my point is, what's happened too is we've got, and you and I could have you've talked to me, this is the second longest you've ever talked to me, we could have a Coke sometime and talk about, in our world, and if you look at all these areas, I'd be interested in your thoughts, not right now on this, but the more the government has gotten involved in being the pickers of winners and losers in economic development, I don't know that we can fix it, but I don't know that it's worked. It's almost had the opposite effect. What works best is that the government sets the rules of the game that are fair for everybody and predictable, so that now, if I were trying to do a private data center project, here's a good example. If anybody wanted to do a private data center project, they probably want to do it because somebody's going to come in next to me, they're going to get a huge government subsidy, and I can't compete with government subsidy. I think the government picking the winners and losers in economic development on a macro scale, I know there's local things and you got to do things, has not been good for the citizens. And I'm not necessarily asking you to respond to that, but it's a discussion you could have.
I will respond to that. Everybody wants to blame local government, and that's not the problem. The problem with me is Columbus. The problem with me is Washington, D.C. We're handed these laws, rules, and regulations that we got to follow, that somebody that's never been built, done, or worked a day in their life making all these things. And to me, they think it's black and white, but sometimes there's gray area in here, and not everything is the same.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, you got to push the parameters to get things done, and not take 4 or 5 or 6 years for the people.
So I'll leave you with the hardest question I'm going to ask you this whole time, and you cannot answer if you don't want to. Who are you supporting for governor?
I'm gonna vote neither one.
Okay. You say it like it is. So
here's why I say that. The system is rigged, and the Republican Party needs to be shown that they should have never, ever endorsed Vivek Ramaswamy 2 years into this deal. They should have let this primary play out and then got behind the And as a county commissioner,
100%
whenever I
agree.
ran the first time, they endorsed my opponent, and I beat him. I don't want anybody to endorse me in the primary. You let the people decide in the primary, and then
that's
you go
what
to
the
general.
primary is supposed to be.
It is rigged, though.
Right.
They set Vivek Ramaswamy up to succeed, and it was wrong.
Well, I was totally against. I've always been against primary endorsements by parties.
That is wrong.
A special interest group. If you have a special, the West Union Elks or something. If you wanted to have an endorsement, go for it. If you want to have your personal endorsements, no problem. Okay. But when the political party is doing the endorsements, it's like the refs before an NBA game telling you who you should bet on.
Amen, brother.
And it tells you how they're going to rule that.
But I said this many times, the system is rigged.
Yeah.
And people don't realize that we're just puppets, they're pulling the strings on us. But Vivek, I personally think that Vivek will get beat. I think if the Democrats show up...
If you follow me, I say that Vivek's going to lose.
He's going to lose.
Yeah.
And you know what? Good or bad, but I hope it sets an example to the Republican Party never to do that again.
You know why I think he's going to lose? He's not going to be able to pull the margin in red counties that he needs, and he's not going to gain any votes in blue counties.
Yes.
And so it's in a very vulnerable position. And by the way, by setting him up to win the primary by accolade, they basically condemned him in the general election, I think, because he's never run an Ohio campaign.
Never run it,
He's never had to do retail politicking.
Yes.
He's never had to get, he does stupid things like fly on an airplane from Columbus to Cleveland.
Amen. Yes.
And that are just tone deaf. And somebody told me one time, I think you'd get this, you're a smart guy, is that when you go, if you're a Columbus person, you got to go to Cleveland, you never fly, you drive in a car, even if it's 3 hours, that's when you have a whole Rolodex of people you're calling.
Amen.
Because you need to call all the party chairs. I know you're a county person, but if you're a state level person, you need to be calling county chairs all the time. How am I doing in this county? What's going on in this county? What are people worried about in such and such county?
But I think it's just going to stem to the problem that we've had in Ohio, is you can't take people that's educated, that's not been on the ground level. I think your best governors could be your county commissioners, your township trustees to move up. You understand the problem on the local levels, and you can't fix something from the top. It's got to be fixed from the bottom.
You're cut from a different cloth. I'll give you that. Okay. And my thing is that you get over towards bigger counties like Claremont and stuff like that. And this is where the people get trained that are the next generation of the Columbus Swamp.
Exactly.
Right? So you get the big county commissioners are where they get trained up. I tell people every day that the shit you see happening in DC, it happens. They got trained to do that at the state and local level to be that way. And now I give you credit is that this is a small county and you are an outsider in this county. You're an outsider with the Republic. You're a Republican, but you're an outsider with the party. You're not liked by the insiders in the party. You knocked off the party chair in your first primary. But you know, just when you say county commissioners are the best, it depends on who the county commissioner is, because you got a lot of swamp county commissioners.
It is, but you know, really, if you go up through the ranks, you understand it. You understand the problem, but it's just the system is just so rigged, and it makes me sick.
It is rigged. It's rigged at all levels. It is rigged at all levels.
But you know what? Who can fix that? The voters, the people. Just to go to example, Adams County, 28,000 residents, 17,000 registered voters, 4,000 people showed up.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Insane. And then they want to sit there and cry and complain about this.
Well, you can blame them. Okay, maybe they deserve the blame too. But you can also blame the system. Why would I bother to come out and vote if the system is rigged and it's all? Why would I bother to do it?
But you can't use that for excuse. You still got to go.
But you know what I'm saying is I think it's a system and now you and I have a difference on this. Okay, we might have a difference. And I know you're not a fan of Alex and so forth. And
no, that's not bad.
But here's my thing is. Part of it is that the candidates have to be willing to make the primaries interesting.
Yes.
And that's in things to me like candidate forums, local events, you know, because that's what otherwise, and I know it's a little different here, like in Claremont County, all it is, nobody will do candidate forums, and it's just mailers. You know, it's basically mailers and yard signs. Because Claremont County, it's very hard to buy unless you're Gene Schmidt, it's very hard to buy media.
Yeah. But for the record, the first time I spent $2,300, I think you've seen the research on that. This time I spent $0.
Okay. And by the way, and I misunderstood what you had told me the one time. Because you had spent some money it was either in the primary, he answered the question correctly.
Yes.
But I assumed that meant he had not spent anything in the whole race.
No, in the first.
Right, in the first
time
primary. Right. You answered my question correctly, but I took the answer differently. So I made a statement that you were spending money that hadn't spent money, and I was wrong.
No.
And I corrected it, but it was my mistake. It was my mistake.
But here, you know, I'm not above spending money, but I'm not going to send mailers, and I'm going to spend a bunch of money. I'm going to go to my county fair. I'm going to go to my cake auctions. I'm going to support my people and go to the benefits and stuff like that where the money is really, truly needed instead of making some fat cat rich.
Okay. By the way, I stopped by, you know, the one time I stopped by the Sunset Bowl, and I had I had a BLT and whatever, and the people were very nice to me, and it's a super nice place. So my hat's off to you on that place. If you're in Adams County and you don't go to the Sunset Bowl, you should go to the Sunset Bowl.
You know, it's a labor of love, and we really appreciate it to give back, and just lucky that me and my wife have been blessed with money, and we've been blessed with a work ethic that we can give back to our community. But I'm telling you, it is a true nonprofit. It's tough, but we love it.
Most places, I tell people, I had a yogurt shop that I bought in Jeffersonville, Indiana from somebody else. And I got it like for pennies on the dollar. And I'm like, there is no way I can't make money at this thing. And it became a labor of love. And it was open for like a year. And then I'm like, screw this. I didn't lose a lot of money, but I didn't make any, I lost money. But my whole point is, if you could take strip malls and stuff where there's retailers in there, people think these people are making shitloads of money. If you could have them automatically, like if I could put on glasses and they would go green or red whether they're making money or not, a lot of these places don't make money. And it's a labor of love that a lot of these places.
And I do appreciate it. You know, I spend many hours cooking and cleaning. My wife does all the ordering, does all the payroll. She does a lot of work herself, and we enjoy it. And that's just what we do.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Commissioner Jones. Thank you for taking time with me. All right.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
Have a good one. Have a good evening. So I'm standing here with Paul Worley, the Economic Development Director for Adams County. I ask you the same questions I asked Commissioner Jones. What do you think of this event, and how would you grade the event for the people of Adams County?
No, I think having Amazon here discussing the project with the folks of Adams County to tell them, you know, what they're going to build, I think that was what we needed. People needed information, and hopefully the folks that came here tonight got their questions answered from the folks at Amazon.
What would you have done different or better about this event?
I have an answer for that.
Okay. The project itself, I know you had an NDA or have an NDA. At the construction site development guy told me he'd been working on the project, an Amazon guy, for 7 months. The commissioners have largely told me they've known about it for a specific project. You know, like they've known generally there's something. But 8 weeks, 9 weeks, 10 weeks, so I'm assuming that you've known about it because of the NDA for a much longer period. Can you say how long you've known about it?
I believe I signed an NDA in end of 2020 or 2023.
Okay. And what, from a standpoint that I've learned from the commissioners, that you guys, unlike say Brown County and Mount Orab, you have not given them any specific economic incentives at this point. You've not done anything,
No, they have not closed on the property. I believe the commissioners will probably negotiate that in the near future.
Okay.
So tonight was an opportunity for people to learn more about the project.
But the key is
to get the information that the commissioners needed, in order to say, evaluate, is this project worth incentivizing for the folks of Adams County.
And if you say you could always say you're not at liberty to say. The commissioners haven't had any discussion with them about specific incentives or specific boundaries of incentives. Have you had those kind of discussions with them at this point?
Not in particular. I think we've talked about, the need. Hey, we want workforce training here in Adams County. We want you to be involved in our schools. We want you to be part of our community. But as far as specific dollar amounts, what those amounts are, that's up to the commissioners to negotiate that. And for them to decide.
So, thank you. And I appreciate you talking to me. So, and just for reference, I agreed with Mr. Worley to only ask him about the Amazon project. So I'm standing here with Judge Brett Spencer, who I ran into as a citizen in the parking lot, who I just asked him because I didn't see him inside the data center event. And I asked him questions. He has the right to refuse to answer any questions. What did you think about the event itself?
Well, I guess I had higher hopes that the event would be more transparent, that they would answer some questions. They sent me to one person, her name was Michelle, that she would answer all my questions. She told me she couldn't answer my questions, so they took me to the head guy that was at the first booth. I don't know what his name was. The only thing that was maybe transparent, I said, what are you asking for abatement? He said 70%. And I said, but the emails show, and he says, I'm the only one that has emailed with Paul Worley. And I said, well, the emails say 30-year abatement, 100% abatement. And he stopped. So I didn't get an answer. I asked him that, what answer do you think he gave me? So it was disappointing.
So personally, I don't like this kind of format for what this is. It's not a trade show. I worked on IBM. We did a lot of trade shows where you had booths. But this is an information event. And I don't like it when everything's individual, compartmentalized, separate conversations where they could tell you something different than what they tell me. You could get a different person than me, and there's no record of any of it. So you, as a part of the bench, know the concept of there being a record. That's
the mystery of this whole thing.
Is
that we don't have anything, any proposal in writing. We don't have any ideas. It's a trust me situation, and that's always difficult.
I think it actually, by the way, just as an aside, it works the other way too. If they do, because I think people do this because if they do open forum events, you can get some people that come in and ask, no answer is going to be sufficient. No answer is going to be sufficient. And you would probably appreciate this, but I'm not asking to react. And then you get people, I heard some woman telling them, if you do that, it's a federal law, you go to prison. And I'm like, I don't know about that. Let's you get a lot of, so I would encourage, I don't like this style of event. Sounds like you thought it could have been better. But I also think people need to be respectful when they do events that are open audience events, that your questioning is thoughtful and not everything a gotcha question or
but this transparency, the lack of transparency.
I hate that.
A woman pulled up behind my car when I got to work the other day and just said, we're so divided because of all these secrets. I don't understand. If it's clean, step out of the shadows of the woods, step out into the sunshine, and let's talk.
Well, my new slogan.
What's that?
Secrecy hides corruption. Transparency builds trust.
I agree.
Right? And you have all these things are rooted in secrecy. And I also have the view, and Kelly Jones was agreeing. So let's see. Is that, for all the economic development,
I appreciate that they were here.
We can't change. We can't go back and suddenly snap our fingers at a local level and change stuff. But I often wonder, all this, the government getting more involved in economic development, I think on a macro level, it doesn't make for a better economy. It actually makes for a more rigged economy. And Kelly Jones and I were talking about this. If, let's say, you, Kelly Jones, and me, by the way, this is just a purely made up thing. We decided we want to make a private data center. well, we probably can't do that because somebody could come next to us and they're going to get a huge amount of subsidy from the government. So it makes for an unpredictable model of capitalism. And the key thing the government should be doing is not picking the winners and losers, to me, but is, and I'm not asking you to react to this, but is making the playing field one that's fair and equitable to everybody who's an investor in projects.
Yeah, I mean, it's again down to let's have a seat at the table, talk to us, and tell us what you'll promise us. Put it in writing. You know, if it's only going to be below 50 decibels, you know, you and I are talking at 58 decibels.
Yeah.
So apparently this place is going to be like this. Is what I said. So what if you go over that? What are the? Oh well, you need to talk to Michelle.
Okay. Okay. Well, I appreciate it. I'll tell you, even though you're a judge, you're not in the wheeling and dealing. You're a citizen. You're still a judge
Spring
too.
Township citizen.
Okay. He keeps moving out of the camera here. I'm gonna move him over this way. He keeps stepping away. I keep telling these commissioners, so if you're having lunch with somebody, say, here's the 3 factors, because I know somebody's a genius at economic development. Notable increase in jobs, notable increase in taxable property base in the near term, infrastructure that you could not otherwise afford. If you can get a good mix of those 3 things, jobs, taxable increase in property value, and infrastructure you couldn't otherwise afford, that's when the government can have an interest in an economic deal. If you can't, if it's not giving you those things,
I agree.
And I'll tell you, you might know in our region, over where I live, a great example of all those things being wrong is the FC Cincinnati training facility in Milford. Okay, no jobs, no new infrastructure, land owned by the Port Authority, so no taxes ever. Okay. Wow. So that's the things that hopefully I told all the commissioners this now twice, I think.
Yeah.
Look for those 3 things, because they're saying they didn't negotiate anything. And Paul Worley just told me that he hasn't hit any notable real negotiations with them on any incentives. So
again, I give them credit for being here. I mean, at least they were front and center, the commissioners, and apparently Mr. Worley, I didn't see him in there, but he said he was in there. So
he even talked to me.
I give him credit for that.
I had to get him to, I told him, I'm only going to ask you about the data center. I'm not going to ask you about anything else. So, all right. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Good to see you, Mr. Hicks.